upgrades from the
Good eye
forge.
with that. Alright, so part 2. Part 2. Yes.
Split dragoons. I'd like to see more tech structures here. Citadel,
What
Templar
text?
Archives,
Okay.
obviously.
For what? We should probably talk about what
Because
purpose.
of this many dragoons, you could easily just go a lot of speed zealots and do
Yes.
quite a bit of damage.
Yes, you can.
Okay, just kind of camping out here. See what I said about this gateway being just a weird spot?
Good job tying
And
that
it's
back
easier to
in.
macro when it's up here with the rest of them. That way you can just use Control F4 and F4 back to it and just hit all your buttons at once.
Alright.
Again, if you got observers, you could be checking for more expansions.
Yes.
He's building gateways that is natural because he thinks it's cool when you do it, I guess.
Well, those gateways aren't nearly as badly
Notice how
placed
he's
as
getting the +1 attack
his.
upgrade.
I guess that natural allows for that kind of thing though, because the exit's at the
Getting-
bottom.
Whatever that upgrade is, I don't know because I suck at this game.
Actually,
but-
those gateways are probably nice. They can block
so there's your Citadel.
zealots from going in there, and it doesn't really
I like
block
to
any of his
see,
units from
legs
getting out.
upgraded pretty much instantly when you get that. Okay, and now you have
See, that cannon's in a good
like,
spot.
0 minerals. Not entirely sure. Oh, you put up more cannons.
It's a lot of gas.
Again, it's understandable that you want to make sure that you're safe, but don't
Ooh, an observer.
overreact and build a crap ton of cannons and you have this observer sitting here when you don't know what your opponent's doing, because that's just more money
See,
you're dumping into defense.
upgrading
that
scarab
he's putting
damage?
into units to
I know
set
this is
up
for
effectively,
AudioBlood,
so-
but you should probably.
Yeah, and
Well,
again,
he
like,
may have got.
this. Okay, now you're building.
He
the
may have got
Reaver and
shuttle
the
speed
This
first.
support bay doesn't need to be here nearly as quickly, or even the robo unless you're going to use it for something. So things to think about.
Yeah. Anyways, the other guy. Sorry, dude, I forgot your name.
Okay, getting back up in mineral count again.
He's getting scarab damage.
Not building anything.
And I
from
don't
the
know whether or not he got
gateways is
shuttle speed
problematic.
first, but you never ever want to get
make
scarab
sure
damage
either
before shuttle speed. You always
With
want
this
that
low
shuttle
gateway
speed like
count,
right
definitely
away.
Use like 4,
If
5,
you're
6, and then
intending on using
7
Reavers
for
the
this guy
entire,
down here.
at least
And just
for more than one Reaver drop, which you should, because
every so often hit those,
that is
and if they're not
pointless.
already building
And I think
something,
he is
build
supply
something
capped,
from
which
them.
is bad. He's probably egg
Still no
on him
Templar
for that.
tech yet, which is kind of discerning.
And then, real quick, about the whole shuttle
still
thing,
no speed
the whole,
zealot
I know
tech.
for, if you're going with
I'd
a
also
Reaver
like to
drop
see you put an
build,
observer out here
there's
to see
specific
what his
timings you
army
want.
looks like, or see, like,
You
where
want
his army
to,
is.
after the robo facility finishes, you want
Because
the,
at this point you want to know what
you wanna
he
start the
has
shuttle,
to kind of counter
and then when the
what
shuttle's
he's
halfway
doing,
done, you want to
as
start
opposed to
the
just blindly building
robo bay,
dragoons.
because
Okay,
that
here's
way,
a Reaver drop.
right as, hold on, I'll pause this guy. Right as the shuttle pops out, the bay will finish, and that pretty much means that instead of spending those minerals earlier on to get the robo bay before the shuttle finishes, those minerals can instead go to probes faster, which will give you a greater return on minerals before you invest any in the tech for Reavers. And yeah, and just a little bit of information there. And then with the Reaver drop, you should just tell him that picking up the Reaver in case of a Reaver drop is pretty good, especially if he does not have any scarabs there, because as you saw before, it shot at it once and it hit the Reaver, so it's down to, let's see, Reavers do like what, 100 damage, and those guys only have like 180 health total, including shields, something like that. I'm not sure, they're really weak, they suck. So you should probably pick that up pronto, and then yeah, and I think, let's see what he does here. Yeah, okay.
Good focus on the shuttle.
And I think you talk about the scarabs,
only losing
how
a
they
couple
suck
of goons
here,
there. That was
so that's
pretty
good.
nice. One thing to note about Reaver scarabs
Yeah.
is if the units are moving away from the Reaver, oh, this guy has 0 scarabs. You might want to build some of those.
Yeah.
They
Let's
take
see,
significantly
100
reduced
go back to the
damage
Reaver.
from the scarabs.
Damn it.
Oh, and 2k.
Yeah, not good.
Um,
he hasn't been building
yeah, that
probes,
would
I
be
don't
a lot
think.
lower
Not the
if
entire
you
time, at
had
least.
a ton more gateways
Which
right
is
here.
bad, obviously. Okay, and
neither of you
I
ever-
forgot, since you're at this screen, a common, or it should be common, you should do this, a common thing with PvP, or anything VP, is, or I guess if you're just scared of drops in general, is out here, out in front of your base somewhere, and possibly even down here, just in case. Maybe build a pylon, or a pylon here, and then a little bit lower on the map down here, another one. Oh wait, I think there's rubble down there, so you can't. Well, anyways, up here, you want to build, since he doesn't have observers, obviously, you want to like build a pylon or something, and that way you can see a reaver drop coming before it happens, and you can position your dragoons and run your probes away before anything bad happens, like some stork scarabs get in there and destroy your entire base in like 2 hits. Just something to think about. And then, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I know you're a bit newer, so you probably don't think about this too much. But when you're doing some of these, you probably want to talk about map-specific stuff. Like for Fighting Spirit, the way that these spawns are is AudioBlood can reaver drop TaintReborn. It's right up the top here. That's his name. TaintReborn fairly easily at his natural here, and he can even sneak into the main up here. And then retreating is also fairly easy, especially with the natural, because it's just he drops and then he's done and he's safe from danger. TaintReborn, however, has a much more difficult time because he has 2 options. He can either go across here, and like I said, you could build a pylon there and scout it very easily. And I'll talk about something else in just a sec. Or he has to wrap all the way around down here. Well, not all the way, like down here behind his contain, and then to the natural. And that just takes a whole lot more time. Which means there's more time for it to be scouted if he made observers, which he didn't. And he has a whole bunch of cannons there, so that just makes it even harder. Another thing about Fighting Spirit in particular is right here, there's the lane up to the 3rd base, and he can put any units up there, which means while the Reaver is dropping in here, if he sees that, he could put 3 dragoons spread out among the little walkway here, like right below the 3rd, and maybe even one up here. So that way, if and when the shuttle retreats with the Reaver in it, he can easily snipe it, and that puts an end to any future or any Reaver damage, at least in the short term, which is obviously very helpful. And just in general with Fighting Spirit, I think you may have talked about it before, but I was probably like instant messaging you right there. Positioning your army along here, or even just exiting through the 3rd up here, that is way better than just keeping it in the natural. You never just want to have your army sitting in the natural. If he does attack, then you can flank with the reinforcements coming from your gateways, and your actual army. You could even do it from 2 ways if you try to attack your natural. You could do it from the lane right here to the 3rd, and you could do it from behind his contain, and that would really just leave him no room to escape, and he would die. And that's exactly what you want. So you should probably try to mention stuff like that. It obviously depends on the map, and it depends on your experience with the map, but that's just my 10 cents.
Very well.
More than 2 cents, because it was very helpful information.
What you might want to consider doing, just since you have so much money, is flying the shuttle down here, maybe
Good.
expanding here.
Especially the mains.
Or upgrading.
I'd say in PvP, yet. I think expanding to another main is better because
right
you can defend that ramp fairly easily.
And even though he has 5
they are
gateways
both
also,
not producing probes, which is bad. You should probably talk about that.
Because you haven't had them nearly as long, you're getting a lot more.
Really just beat them up on macro as much as you can. So hopefully, if they ever watch it, they'll be so insulted and scarred that every time they play the game, they'll just think of how Leoj made fun of them so much for not making probes, and they'll just do it. Okay, so he's making a few probes now. They'll just do it by memory, which is better than not making them at all.
At some point, you're going to have to try to
and it'll make them better, even if it lowers the self-esteem.
You know, you might want to consider moving some units over here.
You talk about it now.
Flanking him.
Good.
But because just sitting in your base isn't going to do you a ton of good.
You should probably mention scouting again, because you could gauge how big his army is compared to yours, or how big TaintReborn's army is to AudioBlood's, and judge what he needs to do from there.
Not upgrading Storm, not upgrading Speed Zealots.
Like if he scouted
yet.
the gazillion
Again, there's a
dragoons
problem.
and the 5 zealots
If you look,
out
he has
there.
5 Zealots, he's gonna go run into your units.